folks, to the special call meeting of the Danville Architectural Heritage Board, August 6th, 2025, 1:30 p.m. I think my first question is, Joni, do we have council present?
No, he was unable to be here, but he did make recommendations.
But you did consult and you have
Yes, sir, I sure
recommendations
did.
from
His
council.
recommendations are in the staff report, in the staff recommendations.
Very good, thank you, ma'am. So I think the only order of business is to hear from our friends at Ephraim. If you'd like to stand up and address us. Sir, state who you are and what you're asking for.
Yep. I'm Craig Sutton, Systems Director with Ephraim McDowell Health, and I appreciate your all's time today with this special call meeting as well. We are replacing, or what should be in the packet, replacing the windows at 210 West Main Street. And I put two options that in front of the committee today. One is a vinyl material window that would have aluminum flashing that conceals all the exterior of the window to 100%. And the second is a composite type fiberglass material with that. The main driving reasons for that, just for context, I know it does say wood construction and clad material in the historic district. But to be quite honest, I hated to put wood, nice windows in there and paint it because the interior.
Could you tilt your microphone up a little bit? Thank you.
The interior of the facility trim is all white, so I hated the fact of putting a wood-based material in there, which we knew would be acceptable, and then turn around and painting it on that behalf. So that's what I've got in front of the committee today. There are two, one picture example, and I think one spec sheet that did say the second option was a fiberglass composite type material.
What do you prefer?
To be honest, I would prefer the vinyl and the clad exterior. I'm not the clad, the vinyl wrap exterior on that. To me, that gives it a clean look as in the picture. That picture is also another building that Ephraim McDowell acquired. It used to belong to Mr. Baird, and it's 210 West Walnut. That's something they did on that building, which was also in the historic district. I do not know the history of how that came about. It's just a building we purchased. And to me, that gave it a long-lasting option with the aluminum wrap, and it protected it from all exterior fading and other things that would degrade the window.
Are you familiar with the guidelines regarding this subject?
I'm getting more familiar every time I look into it.
Well-
And I don't mean that to come across as smart.
No, I just, if
We're
you're
laughing with
not,
you.
neither of these
Fit the criteria.
options are recommended.
Yes.
Aluminum is preferred and has far less maintenance than, and longevity. So in the long run would seem more economical to me.
Yes, that is correct.
Did you consider aluminum?
We did. We do have that as well. It's not the preferred option, once again, because the only aluminum clad that I was able to find was a wood stain grade type window with
A
wood
what?
construction.
Uh,
Aluminum clad on the outside was, the window itself was made of wood construction. And I just hated to buy a nice class wood stained window like that and turn around and paint it on the interior.
I would think just aluminum would be available, but I haven't done that.
Yes, I did not find any complete aluminum frame windows. At least that was not offered by Arnold's Glass, who we typically use as an option. But I want to clarify, the aluminum flashing in option one is not built into the window, but that would cover all the exterior surfaces of that window.
So you're looking at Marvin windows?
Marvin windows, yeah.
Just a question. Option two, looks like from Marvin is a fiberglass composite.
Could you turn on your microphone, please?
On?
Thank you.
Is a fiberglass composite. Is that what you mean by, that's not the vinyl option, is it?
No, it's a composite type material to my understanding that's reinforced with fiberglass type.
Yeah.
But the
Okay, so-
vinyl option in option one is a vinyl construction in its entirety, with the caveat of wrapping that with aluminum for the exterior surface.
And so in option 3 is full aluminum?
I don't have an option 3 on there, but
Okay.
the only other option I could find that would fit within the boundaries clearly of the guidelines was a wood construction window with an aluminum clad exterior. And I do not have that in front of the committee today. It was the two preferred options we would rather go with is what's in front of us today.
Just for curiosity's sake, what's the difference in the prices of the three options?
The wood window and the vinyl clad is quite pricey. I don't know the exact amount here, but we're talking about at least twice the cost of, or the price, overall cost of the straight vinyl option. Approximately, I don't know.
So you're saying the composite is less than the vinyl?
No, the vinyl is the least expensive option. The composite is a mid-grade option.
Okay,
And
that
then
makes
what is
sense.
not in front of us today, and I'm sorry for the confusion, the wood option is by far the most expensive. Typically, that is a pre-stained finish on the interior, a very top-notch, if not the top-notch window. However, we hated to spend that expense and turn around and paint it, is really, if the interior theme would have been wood trim and everything matching, it would be less of a favorable option for us.
What's the difference in the, can you give us numbers?
I don't know, unfortunately,
Have you calculated the maintenance over the life of the window as part of?
the composite is comparable to that from what I was told by the manufacturer and our
Comparable to
supplier.
what?
Comparable to the wood and aluminum clad, which is what we would be replacing. The
That's
composite
not what I read
lifespan.
in the materials here. It said that, the aluminum could last 50 years, and with maintenance every 1 to 5 years, the composite might last 20-some years.
Okay. I don't have any information to dispute that, so I will take you as your word if that was your
Well-
investigation, so.
I would think you'd want to know.
Yes. I guess my biggest response to that would be, that building, the existing windows that we replaced had degraded considerably, mainly in the threshold and around the perimeter of the frame. Although if you looked at the window from the outside, it may not be as apparent of the damage that was there. But those front windows along Main Street, I think the building was built in the mid-'80s, to my understanding. So I guess it was beyond its lifespan, but it does not come, I guess was my point, it does not come without a trade-off as well, because it is the base material.
You
is
say the
wood.
building was not up to snuff? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying the existing windows were
Oh, yeah.
still degraded and therefore caused a replacement, and in some cases, damage to the building for water and
Well, when we
infiltration.
consider the overall community, we like to think that building's going to continue to be there. We don't
absolutely.
have plans to demolish it,
No,
I'm
no,
guessing.
absolutely not.
So, a long-term solution would make sense to me. And also enhances the overall community. Yeah, sorry.
Glenn?
Microphone still on? A couple notes on clarification of the terminology. When one refers to a composite material, specifically a door or window, that's a different manufacturing process. That's chopped up wood fiber, resin, all molded, clad. And then second is a fiberglass window, which is different. That's actual fiberglass, resin, chopped up materials extruded through a die for the shape, and then obviously the aluminum goes the same way. I looked up the life cycle of the fiberglass versus the aluminum. Usually they say if you take care of them, you know, you go indefinitely. You know, I guarantee or warranty would be 20 years. One advantage of the fiberglass is as it deteriorates, it'll still maintain its color, where aluminum over a period of years, well, the paint will oxidize, and you might even need to repaint the aluminum. The big advantage of the fiberglass material is it gives you a sharper shadow relief on the edges, which visually, pardon the aesthetics, but that gives you that kind of wood-like relief. Now, composite construction, they can actually mold in grain, and it does look, and I happen to have a couple composite windows on my house that were installed not when I was there. They're holding up fine. But fiberglass or aluminum is definitely going to be a better choice.
Well,
for-
one thing, these
for-
are called, that says it has fiberglass in it, but they're called composite. And another thing, you mentioned resin, that none of this is discussed in there, that anything that's composite or resin has an outgassing effect, which I really like to avoid in terms of health, you know, which is what EMRMC is all about. You know, for your employees to have windows that have a composite material is not in their best interest.
If
Well,
you
well,
all,
Well, again, though, remember, composite is different than fiberglass.
But, well, these are described as being
if
composite
you all will
with
look in your staff
fiberglass.
report, I can clear this up for you very easily.
Just getting ready to call on you for findings of fact and staff
All of that
recommendations.
good stuff. So to begin with, I want to make a few points to you. The building is not a historic building, however, it is contributing to the district because of the situation that it is in. It is next to possibly one of the most historic structures on the street. Just down the street, you have Constitution Square. The building was built in a neoclassical format to, I suspect, fit in with that end of the street. So even though it is not a historic building, we need to give it the context to be treated as such. The windows that are in there are wood replacement windows. They were put in at some point. I'm not sure. They may have been built with it, but they are a wood and aluminum tracked window with a grid inset in it. The first one is a Manchester window, which is a vinyl composite or a vinyl window. The second one is the Marvin Ultrex window. And you have your stack what that specifically is, what that Ultrex material is. And it is a composite material of fiberglass filaments that are shaped and matted, then saturated with compound resins. And it gives you a specific definition of what the Ultrex is. I looked it up because I was trying to make sure I knew what I was looking at. Now, if I provided you guys a lot of information. It talks about the composite window, it talks about the aluminum clad windows, they're at the very end of your staff report. It kind of juxtaposes them both and tells you the goods and the bad of both of them. Marvin warranty on both of those windows are 20 years. That is their maximum warranty on any windows, whether it's the wood aluminum clad or the composite as well. But the specific window we're talking about today is the Marvin Ultrex window. So that is a composite of fiberglass material. So I want to make sure you all understood that's the specific window. If you are approving a composite, it is that window that you're approving, and that would be part of the approval process. The findings of fact, the windows are significantly deteriorated. I went over and looked at them several times, and they do have some significant deterioration to them. They are a modern window that was built with wood and aluminum. The lights are not divided, as I said, rather it is a grid and set grid pattern on that, so they're not a true divided light window. The vinyl windows are not are not appropriate in the district. We have numerous different parts of the guidelines that say no vinyl, no vinyl, no vinyl. It's in at least 5 different spots in the guidelines. And even though these are not going to be replaced in a historic building, we need to really think about the context of that. The warranty, as I said, on both are about the same. The composite windows are certainly more energy efficient than the aluminum windows. And I think if we look at the reports I gave you at the end of your staff report, it kind of talks about the lifespan. The lifespan of the aluminum is much more, however, they are not as energy efficient as the composite windows. So what you have in front of you today is either to approve one of these windows, either the vinyl or the composite. You can deny both of the windows and ask them to come back if that is your choice. Now, I talked to our attorney and had him look at our staff recommendations because I wanted to make sure that we were being very clear about what we were saying. Vinyl windows are not appropriate. That's been repeated over and over again. Option 1 should not be allowed. It's not appropriate for the district. The guidelines specifically allow the aluminum wooden replacement windows. That is specifically in your guidelines. Now, the argument can be made for the composite windows because I think they are, as Lynn has pointed out, they are more aesthetic. They give a better depth, better shadow lines, but they are not specifically approved in our guidelines. But we are allowed to look at that on a case-by-case basis. The one thing that I want to make sure that you guys really take into consideration is this board is charged to consider the effect of any COA applications on the landmark and adjacent properties, and to consider factors including materials in that landmark. The location of the windows guarantees that they will, in fact, impact the character of the building and affect its relationship to the surrounding buildings that are historic in the neighborhood. Vinyl is singled out numerous different times in the design guidelines as being an incompatible replacement material. The guidelines specifically, as I said, do allow for the aluminum windows. If you are to allow for the composite windows, we need to make sure that the motions I presented to you have the conditions of that it is the specific Marvin window that we are speaking about and that the grid pattern matches the existing. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Let me just weigh in here. This isn't the first time we've been confronted with vinyl versus whatever. Frankly, I can't even imagine why we're discussing vinyl. It's not allowed in the district, and I think that should be the beginning and end of it. But I do think it would be good to have a standard for future buildings and products, and I think I suggest that Joni's research with the composite window provides an affordability, but a durability that, in my mind, is an acceptable window that retains historical character. And so I'd like to suggest that we go with the composite option 1. I don't even know why we're talking about it.
And let me just, technology has a way of moving faster sometimes than we're ready for. The composite windows are relatively new on the market. They haven't really been available in a wide variety, maybe for the last decade. The National Trust has now begun to really seriously consider the composite windows as they are able to really replicate the wood, the shadow lines, the mullions, all of the things that we look for aesthetically that the wood window wants to put back. They last for a very long time unless you actually go up and kind of take a hunk out of the window. You don't really know that they're not wood. So what has happened, Gary, is that the technology has moved quicker than the National Trust and our guidelines have caught up with. So I like to say that, you know, we are eligible to look at these on a case-by-case basis. Now, if this was an 1810 building that had historic windows in there from 1810, this wouldn't be a discussion. But because it is not, we do have some leeway there. So I wanted to make sure you all understood that that composite, it's kind of new on the market and relatively speaking. And so the trust has begun to look at that as a viable alternative, not when you're replacing 1810 windows, but when you're looking at infill or newer construction.
How long until this building would be considered a contributing building?
I consider it a contributing building now, but it does not meet the 50-year deadline for the
Right,
same.
but if it
So
was built in the 80s, it's getting
another-
close to 50.
Yeah, it's getting close. So it's another 10 years, but I would say to you this. I look at, because of its stylistically, the way it's made in a colonial style, and that's, I think, was probably specifically done to meet the character of that end of the street. But if we're going to talk about what was actually put in there, you're going to look at an aluminum framed wood window. So at what point does that become a historic window? Probably in 10 years. So we would really still, we need to look at it in a little different light than a building that's right next to it, which I'm going to talk to you all about at the next meeting pretty heavily. So, you know, if you're looking at that, it's got about another 10 years before it hits that National Register eligibility.
It's interesting that the buildings that were constructed in 1810 seem to hold up better than the ones
Oh,
in
yes,
the
they certainly
1980s.
do. It's that old growth lumber.
Mayor?
If you took all three samples and put them up against the front wall of that building and stood out in the middle of the main street, could you tell them apart?
No, I don't think anybody but an expert would be able to do that. The only thing I want to clarify with that is assuming that we covered the vinyl option with aluminum flashing.
And if you were walking down the street where you were from here to, say, 5 feet, could you tell the difference?
I don't think I could, but an expert may be able to.
I think the shadow lines these guys are talking about, I think you can tell.
Yes, you can certainly tell. It is, the vinyl window, Mayor, is very flat. It has a very flat reveal to it. The composite and the wood have more of an OG mode where it actually, if you're standing out at an angle, you can tell there's a difference in the window.
You add that to the fact that they aren't actual small panes.
Now, the windows that they are not, that, understand that these are solid, 2 light windows with a grid attached to the back of it. So they are not the end of it. Like if you look at the very building next to it, those are gonna be the individual 9/12 lights, but this is a grid pattern.
Some of the composites I've worked with in Florida that's hurricane rated, you pretty much have to take your thumb and scratch and say, that's not really wood. I mean, it's pretty close.
It is, the technology has moved faster than what things are catching up with. And then, again, as I said, we really have to look at, are we replacing an 1810 window?
I'm
Or-
bothered by the fact that we're only looking at one manufacturer's options. You know, and the material about them is provided by that manufacturer. So they're not gonna have anything bad to say.
And I might interject to your concern there. I just glassed in a screened-in porch. Now, I looked at 3 different brands that makes windows, and Marvin was way above the other 2. I mean, quality and they're more expensive, but you just got a better product.
Yeah.
Well, when I did the staff report, I made sure to reference the materials that Eagle provided. They provided the Marvin and the Manchester window. I will say that the Marvin window appears to be a very well-made window. Marvin does have the aluminum flat wood. They have numerous different types of windows, but they are one of the top-rated window producers in the country, without a doubt.
Are these thermopane?
Yes, multi-layer.
I can imagine it wouldn't be nowadays.
They may have the dividers in them, or just not one window without the panes
Yes, they are one window with a grid inserted.
Yes.
But that is,
Not the individual.
John, that is what is there now, is the one window with the grid pane in the back of it.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, do I have a motion somewhere?
Well, I'll make the motion that we go with staff's recommendation, that would be
Option two?
option two.
Yes, if you look, I gave you the specific language for that motion. I think I gave it to Gary.
Between us here, would you like Mr. Noble to read that
I
out
would,
loud?
sir, but since I
Put
gave
that
him my
into the
copy,
record.
that would be beneficial. And then we can give it to our secretary for her,
Let me see if I can read this.
do my best.
Motion two is to deny the vinyl and composite,
No, wait.
wait a minute.
No, we're at motion one.
Motion one, okay.
Yes, sir.
sorry.
Approve the
Yeah,
composite.
Thank you. Okay, motion, that didn't sound right. Motion one, approve composite windows for replacement at 210 West Main Street. The composite material will mimic the existing non-historic window, and it will not impact the character of the building or affect the relationship of the building with its neighboring historic structures. With the condition, one, that they use Marvin windows as recommended, and that the grid patterns shall match existing windows.
You got it.
Thank you.
I'd like to attach an amendment to that if I can.
Yeah.
Cannot put flowers in the window.
I'm not talking about.
Not in the window.
Before you all bought it, or some years ago, there was some foliage out front, some green shrubs.
Okay.
Arborvitae, to be exact. Is there room for those now, or you all plan to do anything about, and this is not an amendment, this is just, are y'all plan to do anything with the front of that to soften it with,
There's not a lot of space between the sidewalk with the cityscape improvement than what is
I
there
think that's
now.
under the jurisdiction of the cityscape now, John, I think.
Okay.
You might want to approach the city manager with that question.
well, but, I think I'm in order if I'm, if I still got the floor, so.
For the moment.
I don't think that would be in the beautifications, no, I think that would be up to the hospital to put what they wanted to put out there within the guidelines of beautification. But my point is, do you all plan to look at that and soften the front of that building? Now, you've softened it with new windows. Sure.
Well, not yet, but that's our
Is
intent.
there room for other, I won't go into the details, but you know what I'm talking about. don't you?
Yes, absolutely. I think there's some landscape.
Make sure that's mentioned at the board meeting?
Yes, I will pass that along. And we do have some small bushes in the area that were just put in this year, and we did do that too.
Thank you.
I have a motion. Any further discussion on the motion? That's what I'm getting there. Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
I'm going back to how you explain composite versus fiberglass. I'm wondering within the motion, we could be a little bit more specific and say the Marvin Ultrex fiberglass window, rather than just saying the composite window from Marvin.
Yes, we can certainly add the brand name, which is the Ultrex.
So that's an
Ultrex.
amendment to the motion.
Ultrex fiberglass, not necessarily just composite. You could say fiberglass composite or composite fiberglass, but the fact is,
The Ultrex is the brand name for that specific window that is the fiberglass window.
right, but someone reading the minutes 20 years from now won't
I
know
see.
what Ultrex. So
Then
what-
I would say the Ultrex fiberglass composite window from
Yes.
Marvin.
Because the question of composite may come up when someone comes up with a composite, wood fiber, resin concentration, grain pattern, whatever, and we should probably deal with that one-on-one. But what we're right now saying is it's the fiberglass, not the wood composite. Subject to discussion.
Then I need to change the motion, and I'd like to change the motion to include Lynn's,
So you accept this?
yes. So you get some tricky lawyer, and they'll come in and change the whole meeting just because of procedure.
Yeah, the legal definition of composite versus fiberglass windows. Case number 42.
All right, we have a motion and now an amended motion. Do I have a,
Future guidelines, I hope that outgassing becomes part of the discussion.
do I have a second on the motion as amended?
I second the motion as amended, including the fiberglass composite windows by Marvin Alteryx.
Very good. Very well worded, sir. Thank you. All right. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Very good, sir.
Okay. I have
Appears
two
to be
more.
approved. Have fun.
Okay, I have two more comments if the board are entertaining. One, we did replace the front door, and I talked to Joni on that building. There was a mistake by Arnold's Glass, and they ordered the wrong front door. It does have a half light. It was totally their mistake, and they have reordered that and plans to get it fixed just in case anybody drives by and says, that wasn't supposed to be a half light on that building. So, and then the second comment, if you ever do adopt, and this is just feedback, right? I did review the window section regarding that and did not see it specify regarding the vinyl. And that was in the window section only. Clearly, I found out later in under review, right, that there is a whole section on vinyl, right? I'm just saying it would be wise if we adopt new guidelines at some point to at least refer to that section, right? So if you reviewed just one section of the document and not the guidelines in its entirety, it would clearly tie back to review the section regarding vinyl. And it is clearly
Since that's
specified
upcoming,
there,
thank you.
so.
I will tell you, in the design guidelines, there's a couple different sections there. And when you look at the commercial entrance and the commercial windows, it doesn't go into the vinyl as much as if you look at the universal guidelines. And the universal guidelines really does go into that. So I will make sure in the future, when we talk to folks about it, to refer them to both sections as just opposed to the commercial entries.
Yes, and I appreciate that. Once again, I admit I was cherry picking sections of the guideline, not to be advantageous. I was just, that's what
Well,
I
and
was
that's okay.
versing myself on.
Well, that's okay, Craig, because we want to make sure if you don't see it, then other people are not seeing it as well. So that's something that we need to look at.
Yeah, because I
It's-
briefly just went to the window section only.
Sure.
And did review that, and I did not catch that on the initial review, so.
I'm real pleased, if I may, I'm real pleased that you're real supportive of the flower project. That's very nice, and that really is. I'd like to enter that into the minutes, please. Thank you so much.
Special call meeting when we can only fit in.
Exactly. Speaking of that, thank you, sir. You're excused.
I'll get your COA to
appreciate
you,
that.
sir.
Thank you.
I'll have it in the next day or so.
Appreciate your all's time. Have a good
Item
rest of the
number
day.
3 on the grant update.
Oh. So, we are moving ahead. Thanks, Craig. I'll get your COA for you. The dam has broken, unbelievably, and I got the go-ahead for the design guideline grant last week. So we are going to be moving ahead. I am, over this next few days, putting together a request for proposal. I'm not sure, if we don't have a COE that comes in or for a hearing today, I probably won't call another meeting this month. I will likely send you that document for any comment that you have, because this will be the RFP, which we will send out to get the consultant to come in and do the work. So you can expect that in the next week or so. And then we'll send it out and hopefully get a pretty good consultant to come in. And that is for the design guidelines for the signs and public art. And one of the parts of that is to make sure that whatever we are doing as Architectural Review Board is in line with what planning and zoning is doing as well, so that there's not two separate guidelines in the district for what signs can look like. And then the other is the Paul Brunt $750,000 to $1 million bricks and mortar grant. I got the green light to apply for that as well. So the dam has broken. I met with Bluegrass Ad this morning. We are finalizing that grant. It'll be for around $990,000, and that will be split between Mercer and Bull County. It'll be a competitive grant, so we will come up with an application that will go out and folks can come in with their building. I'm probably going to tap a couple of you to be on the committee for the decision. I'm specifically looking at my architects. to make recommendations for that. I've set this up that the money will run through the Bluegrass Area Development District so that there is no implication that one county is getting more than the other county. It's going to be specifically competitive. So those grants will be between $75,000 and $100,000 per project. And they're for the entire county. So if there's something in Junction City or there's something in Mackville that is on the National Register as a contributing structure, they will be eligible to receive that money, and it's not matching.
Does that grant go through us or you, or does it go through the city, or does it go through the county?
It goes through the Bluegrass Area Development District.
Yeah, so when it's administered, if it happens, then does that go to the county, does it go to the city, or how's that split up?
It will go through the Bluegrass Ad to specifically the applicant. Yes, I set it up that way so that it did not go through the county governments, because we do not want to give we don't want to make it like Bull County is getting more money than Mercer County, or Mercer County is getting more money than Bull County. So what my intention is, and I've met with both mayors and both city managers, we will set up a committee for those applications, and they will be made up of me, a representative from the Bluegrass Ad, and then I'm going to tap a couple people from either of the CLGs and probably the city managers from both cities to set in on that application process.
Criteria for getting before the committee if you've got a project?
Firstly, you have to be either listed on the National Register or listed as a contributing structure within a National Register district.
What would the contributing factor be?
The contributing factor, like, let's just take, for example, the Danville Commercial District, which is your downtown. That means that the building would have to be built between 1860 and 1920, or earlier than 1860. There's a few that are still around. It would need to be listed either singularly as a contributing structure, or if it's within that district, it would be what we call contributing to the district. And there's very few on either main streets that are not contributing. It would need to show a significant need for the money, which means that they have either got a restoration project that they want to do, or that there is a significant structural issue that they're trying to address. So say that one of the buildings that are 1810 has a roof that's falling in, they would be eligible for that.
Is that commercial or residential?
Both. It doesn't have to be either one. You can, if you are a National Register listed structure, you can apply for it.
When does the applications come out?
I've got to get the grant first. I should know something about October, and I plan to have those applications ready by the first of the year. That's my timeline, if the feds will go along with it.
Joni, how much is the design guideline dollar amount? How much is that for?
Now you're taxing my brain, between $18,000 and $20,000, I think. Somewhere in there. But it'll be specific on I think between 18 and 20, I believe. They have went up significantly.
Who makes the final? Once you get, all of us up here have an application in.
You all,
They all look good.
now you're talking about for the,
Wait a minute, who judges which is the best one of us up here, where's that money go?
now which grant are we talking about? Well, there's a couple different things. If it is for the Certified Local Government Design Guidelines, say that we get 3 RFPs in, that will submit them to this board as an entity to make the final decision on who we're going to go with.
Board will make the final decision where that money goes?
No, the board she's composing?
Now, wait, we're talking about two different things.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The certified local government grant, which is on the design guidelines.
Gotcha. Okay,
This
okay,
particular
sorry.
board you all will make the recommendation to the city for which consultant to go to. No, this is only for the, now this is only for our district. These are the design guidelines with, now the other grant that we're talking about is the Paul Brunn grant, and that is going to go through a separate committee that will be made up of individuals from this board, individuals from the Harrodsburg board, someone from the Bluegrass Ad, to look at those. And there's going to be a ranking criteria for that, John, and I'll share that with everyone once we get that hammered out. But to be frank with you, they're not going to do all that work unless we get the grant, because that's a substantial amount of work to get that.
So once an individual or a project gets the money, and who supervises how the money's spent?
Me,
So you the top guru.
I'm the guru. So what I will do is I have to, because in the end, I have to come back to the federal government and say, they spent your money this way.
So we don't have to prove what you approved, is that?
Not for the Paul Brunn grant. Now, for the CLG grant, yes. They will come with the final deliverables, which you, my microphone keeps going off. You guys, were you here for the last time they did the design guidelines? Were you on that? Well, they will come and present to you all what their findings are. They will do a couple training sessions with you. We'll have a couple public meetings over that as well. So those deliverables will be very specifically laid out in the RFP, because I'm going to ask them for printed. There'll be a whole list of deliverables that have to come. And in that is, I think, we have 2 public meetings scheduled for the signs and the public art. It will go up on the website. It will be very much following what happened with the first set of design guidelines.
So the county really not involved in this?
Not in the first grant, no, sir. It is only for our certified local government district.
So is there a second grant?
The second grant, the county will be involved.
How much would that be?
It depends on that is a project-specific grant. So if somebody in Perryville comes and says, I need $100,000 for the Carrick's Parks, then we would have to look at that because that's in the county. That answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
Website.
All right, well, Lynn and Dana, the county and city are both redoing the websites as we speak. So I have made some of the changes that you all asked for in specific linking things, easier to find. It's got a whole new look to it. When it comes online, I'm going to send it to you all to have a look at. I have access to the planning and zoning, to our part of planning and zoning, so we can make it much more user-friendly, do historic pictures of different things, and then I will have a way to go in there and put our preservation awards and different things. But it is just now coming online, so it's not quite ready to look at, but they are totally revamping both websites. You could probably go to the city's website now and click around in it. I did ask to make sure that we were on the frequently asked questions. What if I have a historic structure in Boyle County? What do I do? We've also asked the city to put a checklist on how you do business in the city so that they will know there's COA, et cetera, that's required. We can make all kinds of changes to it, but I would give it a little time until they get it up and running. So it's being totally revamped.
It's good news.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
I'd just like to tell the other members, the 3 of us met over at the library, and as I usually do looking at something, I have tunnel vision. You know that about the preservation certificate, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I learned something in our discussion. I had always been visualizing the city's website on my little computer screen, which is about 13 inches or so. Well, Joni and Dana bring out their cell phones and say, Lynn, this is where all information is coming from right now. And Joni brought up the website on her cell phone and was having problems going through the links and everything, and she gave me a homework assignment. She said, now Lynn, I want you to go home and bring up our website on your cell phone, which I did. My involvement is no longer required in this area because I just cannot do anything on a cell phone. And so, you know, when they're designing the website, think about the old guy that needs a big screen and the young bird that can do all this stuff on a cell phone, because believe me, it's beyond me. But anyway, it was a great learning experience, and I really enjoyed working with you too. And I'm glad to see it's moving forward.
Well, it is, and once we get it,
Just don't send anything on myself.
on your cell phone, no, sir. The planning and zoning site, they have completely redone it. And the one thing I did make very clear to Melody is to make sure that if somebody is looking for us, that we're fairly easy to find. Because before, whether you're on your cell phone or on a personal computer, you couldn't find us. You had to go looking for us. So I think the frequently asked question is really good. Because that gives an opportunity for somebody, even if they're out in the county and they want to know about tax credits, they can get a hold to me and talk to me about that. This is going to be much better and much more user-friendly. And yes, I'm going to send all kinds of stuff for you all to review. The cool thing is I've got the access that we can replace pictures now with actual good pictures of, and even some historic pictures of like downtown Danville in 1880, which I think's kind of cool looking. So it doesn't have that sterile kind of look to it. So if you look at it now, you're going to see some pictures of like sandy beaches. Ignore that. We're going to replace that with that. I've been a little
Where's the sandy beaches?
well, they're right downtown, Gary. They're right out front. So Hannah stuck some stuff up on there just as place fillers.
First Street.
Down on First Street, yeah. Yeah, we've got some cool stuff that we can put up there. But to be honest with you, all of these grants hit at one time. And I've been a little overwhelmed trying to get them all straightened out before deadlines hit, so.
Who do you go to in Frankfurt? Who administers those grants in Frankfurt? Who's an individual to talk to?
The Kentucky Heritage Council. All of that flows through the Kentucky Heritage Council.
Who makes the final decision there?
Craig Potts. Craig Potts.
Do you know him?
I know him very well.
Should not you have a meeting with him?
I've already talked to him.
Was it positive?
Yes, yes.
Does that mean we're in the catbird seat?
Well, we got the certified local government grant already. It's a done deal. And I feel very, very strongly that we have an extremely good chance with the Paul Brun. And the reason being is because we didn't make it just one county, we made it two counties. Both,
Would it be advantageous or negative to talk to Daniel Elliott?
I certainly can. I can certainly talk to him and mention it. And then probably will because I'll get some supporting letters. So I'll ask him to put a supporting letter, or perhaps our local Republican chairman can ask to do that.
Well, we don't want it to be political, though.
Well, but this is his district. So I think regardless what stripe you are, it's still within his district. And yeah, and that would be a good thing.
Root for the home team.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is another reason.
And go with your strongest team.
That's true. Well, to be honest, that's the one reason I put it through the Bluegrass Area Development District, because I think it just looks better that we can say this is a regional grant instead of county-specific. Harrodsburg hired me to get their certified local government together, which I did. And so we're one of the few spots in the state where you have two certified local governments sitting together. So we can ask for these regional grants now. And it's a good opportunity since you have two of the most historic cities in the state going together to apply for this. I think we got a pretty good shot at it. Hopefully, knock on wood.
Very wise move, thank you.
Let's hope so.
Joan, I'm glad you brought up photos for the website, because we were just looking at example photos. But a couple things, I think it would great to show some projects that actually went through, like, the art center.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And this is bluestone steps.
Mm-hmm.
And we can do generics, you know, at Danville before vinyl kind of pictures, but the, you know, targeting in some projects.
Well, one of the things I want to put on there is this is our past successes. And I think within that context, our preservation award to the Art Center will be part of that. I'm happy to put the church on there as well. So yeah, we want to, what my intent is with this is to make this more of a positive than a negative, saying it's not unobtainable.
Church approval before you use it.
There we go. So I wanted, the whole thing is, I don't want this to feel like a cold government website, more of, hey, we're here to help you. And so there's going to be a lot of links on there to tax credits and different grant programs and the Secretary of the Interior standards. So if you want to actually look harder, you can, and not just be for this district, but if you've got a building sitting out in the county and you need some help with it. So I'm hoping that it will be more encompassing than just, this is what we tell you got to have on Main Street. That's kind of my whole goal for it.
It'll be educational.
And make
Yes.
sure to put some floral considerations on that.
We love flowers. Yes, absolutely. Zinnias are beautiful, which I have to agree, zinnias are beautiful.
I think the chairman will state it.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you, I got up this morning, went out and watered my zinnias, and I had 3 monarchs and 2 big yellow swallowtails and a hummingbird. It's absolutely paradise. So
I have not seen a monarch this year yet.
I have them all over my yard.
That's very annoying.
But are you on a flight path? He may not be on the path.
I will tell you all, just for your knowledge, Perryville Battlefield put 700 acres of pollinator habitat in about 6 years ago. It works phenomenally well. If you come out at the end of September, the very last week of September, the first week of October, go to the dye house, which is on Battlefield Road, pull down that gravel road, walk behind the dye house. There is a row of trees back there that the migrating monarchs go to in the evening. And I have seen thousands of monarchs, but you got to catch it when they're migrating. It's usually that last weekend of September, the 1st of October, but I'll let you guys know when I start to see them. But I guess they nectar the fields, and then they wait in those trees for that southern wind to come. So there'll be 2 or 3 days of just, I'm not kidding you, thousands in those trees if we have a good migration. So
Have you talked to the doctor who, I got a senior citizen moment, that has the house out on
I sure have, and he's also bought the Carrick's Parks house.
the point,
He's on my list to make.
is he eligible?
He absolutely is eligible, and he is on my list to make sure he has information for Carrick's Parks. He's done an unbelievably good job on the Crawford House. It's fantastic. And he purchased the Crawford House, I think that was done last month. So they're going to work on that, but that house is absolutely eligible, and it would be a great project for Perryville as we want to kind of spread that money out a little bit. So, yeah, he's on my hit list. It's Ted Steinbach, is that his name? Yeah, I think that's him. I've talked to him several times. He's a member of the Friends of Perryville Battlefield, so I talk to him pretty often. Yes, he
All right.
is.
Good stuff. Motion to adjourn. Then we can sit and talk.
No,
I have a motion. Motion.
we are adjourned.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. We are adjourned.